Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we are here to give you this week's reading recommendations for new comic book releases. Yay! So, Fritz, what did you read and like?
So I read and liked the new series from DC, Spirit World. It's coming out of, they just did the Lazarus Planet crossover about a month or two ago, and one of the new characters they introduced was Xanthi. They are basically like kind of like demon ghost hunter person. Mm-hmm. Like they make sure that there's not trouble between the titular spirit world and the human world. The problem is what happened in their appearance in the Lazarus crossover thing was Batgirl Cassandra Cain gets transported to the spirit world. So this issue is mostly them and Constantine trying to figure out how to get back to the spirit world themselves to save her, because everything in the spirit world wants to eat anything that's alive. So it's not. So anytime it cuts back to Cassandra, she's like being chased by monsters and stuff. And Cass being Cass, she does a great job of dodging them and everything. Yeah. But the clock's ticking, and I don't know. I just really enjoy them. They've kind of got like, they're a bit snarky without it being like too like in your face about it. They generally feel like they're trying to be helpful and everything. It's also just fun to see them give Constantine grief because he deserves it. Even if he doesn't seem to have done anything, he probably deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
But their power set is great because they've got this whole like magic thing where if they can basically make something out of like a little piece of paper, they can turn it into the actual item. Yep. So like that's how they've got their big old Buster sword here. They just have a little paper sword, actual sword. It's great. Cool. It's got a cool little cliffhanger at the end, kind of hinting at like, oh, what was Xanthi before they became like this kind of like protector of the two realms, like because they're not really alive. So what was their like living life like, and you kind of start to get hints of what that was. So very curious to see where they're going with that. It's part of DC for Asian American Pacific Islander month this month. They've got a whole little imprint, We Are Legends, coming out where it's all like Asian American creative teams working on these new characters, pretty much all of which were introduced during the Lazarus event. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for like, check our back issues for that. I think they're also putting out like a little like primer issue kind of recapping those stories at some point, but so also look out for that coming hopefully to our stand sometime soon. But I don't know, it's a great first start. The art is like beautiful, like everything's super expressive. The action scenes are great. I don't know, I'm very looking forward to the next issue. But speaking of cool number ones,
yes, I went with Something Epic, and great title. It's very, understated. Always a good way to go with comic books. This is a creator-controlled property from the beginning. Like it's written by, drawn by, completely assembled by Simon Kodransky?
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, so I know it says in here that there was translation help. But yeah, created, written, illustrated by the creator. And then translation assistants and editor is kind of, and then the lettering is about all that was added by anybody else. The gist of this is exploring the line between imagination and reality. Mm-hmm. And so the author is playing with the idea of this. The main character is a kid of, a generic tweenager kind of age, whose imagination is so strong. And they're narrating the book apparently as an adult, similar to Saga, being told now. And they're kind of implying that you could have an imagination so strong that it doesn't really bring stuff to life, but that you can perceive stuff that's maybe there, or that the difference between our ability to witness the world around us is so limited, right? Like our senses are only capable of so much. So they kind of go into, some animals have a different sense of sight. You know, they can see electromagnetic fields. Mm-hmm. You know, some animals have a much stronger sense of smell, like they can smell cancer cells and that kind of thing. So they're blurring the line between, you know, reality, imagination, and then kind of perception. Mm-hmm. is that, you know, where does that line really happen? And it kind of gets blurred, and you're not entirely sure on this issue just how far we're going to go, but you know that that's the direction that we're going in. So it's beautiful. It has a compelling concept. It's text heavy, so there's a lot of reading, but it draws you in. Like, you feel like you're sitting down and watching kind of a movie that's being narrated well. Mm-hmm. It just flows really nicely. So I thought it was a great start. And, you know, I mean, Image throws out a lot of number ones, and some of them stick and some of them don't. It feels like, you know, the nice thing about Image is that they're a big enough publisher that any series that they start, they're going to finish, mm-hmm. right? They're already going to be committed to it. And they do a great job of telling these encapsulated stories. So I'm really interested to see where this one goes. So, yeah. Well, we're short Sarah this week because she's out of state, returning home today. Mm-hmm. But we decided to do a consensus pick, and we went with
Green Lantern #1, part of the new whole Down DC thing DC's been doing. It's been a little bit since the last time there was a Lantern title, like at least like a year or so, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. And this one, we're focusing on Hal hanging out on Earth. Basically what's happened is the Lanterns are under new management. The Guardians are gone. I think that happened in the last series, mm-hmm. And now they're under the management of the United Planets, who have decided, like, you know what, Earth's a bit more trouble than it's worth, which, fair, but, and have basically said, like, reassign, like, all the Lanterns to, like, other sectors, but Hal's like, nah, I'm going back to Earth. And this is basically him trying to, like, reestablish a life back home. He hasn't been around in a bit. Everyone's kind of moved on and having their own lives. Like, he tries to go and see Carol, and she's like not thrilled to see him.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Tries to blow him off. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, in typical Hal fashion, he's just going to keep on soldiering through, trying his best. It's like it's very strong, like, just good. Like, hey, if you haven't read in a while, we're going to, like, get you caught up on all the basics, kind of get you, like, a feel for everyone's character. And, like, Jeremy Adams, if you've been reading Flash, he's been very popular in that. So this is him kind of getting to, like, take that and apply it to the Lanterns instead of just the Flashes. So he's definitely got, like, a very humorous touch to his writing, and which works for a lot of Hal stuff, where he's definitely running that line of, like, he's very, like, we were talking about, like, cocksure, but, like, he's got, like, the skill and confidence to back it up.
Yeah.
You get some teases of, like, some other stuff, like Sinestro's hanging around in the background.
Apparently, yes.
Up to something.
Yep. Probably just going to be fine.
Oh, sure. Yeah, nothing can go wrong. Some hints at, like, some other potential, like, former baddies showing up in here. There's also the backup in here set up for, there's also going to be a John Stewart Green Lantern comic coming later this year, which I'm very excited about.
And it's fun to see him kind of going back to his roots a little bit. He's trying to be a test pilot at Ferris again, and, you know, so some of those fun old
there's
setups.
A little bit of a Top Gun feel to it.
But the world has definitely moved on, and like you mentioned earlier, Hal's got to figure out his place in the new order.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The art was great.
Zermanico, like, that's the thing when I originally saw this, like, solicit, just like, ooh, love their art. Definitely got to check this out.
Yeah, it fits the Green Lantern wing of the DC universe really well. So, a lot of fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I thought Carol kind of stole the show. I really enjoyed her in this book.
She's got a lot of good facial expressions in this. Like, when she first gets the call that, like, Hal's, like, waiting for it, she's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was really good.
My only complaint Cover has Kilowog on it, no Kilowog in here.
Yeah, what the heck, bait and switch.
Which
Come
is
on.
which is weird because we know he shows up because he's been in a bunch of the other like art they've shown up. So it's just like, I want my Kilowog.
Yeah, bring it. Bring it. It was, honestly, this week was a really good week. I had a hard time narrowing it down.
Yeah, like we even had a hard time just trying to pick a consensus pick because like X-Men Red was also a contender.
Fantastic. So good. And, you know, for those of you that are freaking out about Amazing Spider-Man and are threatening to quit and whatever, you got to read it. You got to read this issue. Yeah, I don't know where they're going to go with the next issue. There's a lot of speculation out there, but we specifically shut down the website on that one so that our locals here would get first shot at it for that particular title. So we should have shelf copies available if you get in here quickly. But that is going to do it for this week. If you want to know the rest of the things the rest of the picks that we narrowly chopped off of the top list, come in and visit us. We would be glad to talk about all of them, as we always do every week with our regular customers. If you're not able to make it in, like I referenced earlier, our website has comics for you to be able to order from. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all of those things that we ask for every week. Hat in hand, hoping someday that we'll be able to, I don't know, quit having to lift anything heavy around here and just do YouTube videos. That's what my kids think they're going to do. Yeah, it's a real dream. Well, thank you for joining us again this week, and we will definitely see you next week. And come on into the store. We'd love to see you in person as well. Thank you very much. And yeah, a lot of great, pop culture references in here that are close to copyright infringement, like